What's going on? It's the RapNerd, and I'm here today to talk about some Supergirl, but more so a look at the DCU and what's to come in this whole response that this movie has had. Now, I have been very lenient when it comes to James Gunn and his vision. When he first announced he was taking over and he had this thing called Chapter 1 Gods and Monsters, I was like, okay. And he was, reading out all of these movies about like what's gonna release. And I was scratching my head back then. I was like, I don't know, but I thought that James Gunn was a comic book, darling, because everything that he's done has been pretty much adored. And even that still rings true today when it comes to stuff that he made. All his Guardians movies and Superman are all been well received. So I was like, maybe that could translate over to the properties that he attaches himself to. And now we see that's not the case because Supergirl is going to completely bomb at the box office. I think overall, on a worldwide scale, I don't even think the movie made $100 million, which is insane to me. And I enjoy Supergirl. I like the fact that it loosely adapted Woman of Tomorrow, because to me, all of the biggest story beats from that comic book are pretty much there in the film. And it's something that I would watch again. As I said in my other review, that I love that it felt grimy, dirty, gritty. It had some real things, especially with Krim trafficking girls. I feel like that takes shit to a whole different level. And it feels a lot more personal than somebody just trying to destroy the world. And I appreciated that about the movie. But ultimately, I still think that it was just good. I don't think that it was great by any means. And I feel like that's basically what a lot of people are saying themselves, even though I feel like they're going overboard because, again, I don't think the movie was bad. But we are now almost 20 years deep of comic book culture running cinema, and that train of superhero hype has definitely run out. We are no longer in a place where people will show up to see any and everything. And I think James Gunn has to realize that. And that's really what I wanted to talk about, because at the end of the day, he's making these moves and he's starting to run it into the ground because it feels like he's just being self-serving and not serving the audiences. Now, granted, I know that there are some comic book enthusiasts out there who love seeing all these small characters, who love Creature Commandos, who love Suicide Squad, who love Jimmy Olsen, apparently, right? But that's not everybody, yo. And he has to realize and grasp that. Like almost every month I'm seeing something new that's supposed to be in development, and I'm just like, why are we releasing this? Why is this in development? Like after Supergirl released, they doubled down on this Jimmy Olsen and Gorilla Garage show. I'm like, why is this a show? Why do we have a show about the mascara but no Wonder Woman is in it? Why is Clayface releasing later this year but we have no sign of Batman? And I know some news dropped today that Batman's supposed to make a cameo in it, but I'm like, it almost seems like that was a desperation move because of how poorly this went, and this being Supergirl. Like, he really has to stop prioritizing these B-list characters, these C-list characters, because everybody wants the main characters first. That's just how it is. And it's even more important to do that now with the space of comic book movies not being hyped as they used to be. Like, had Supergirl released back when the superhero was at its very height, I really don't think the reaction would have been this crazy for Supergirl, because to me, this is on par, and I would even say better than some of the most average MCU films. Like, we're talking about Ant-Man 2, which is plain Jane as hell and still made like 700 to 800 million. Supergirl is better than that movie. And I can name a number of other ones that are just kind of filler movies that people supported because the hype was just that high. We ain't there no more. If we want superhero movies to be something, they gotta be presented as an event. It just is what it is now. Especially because superhero movies cost so much to make. Like, if they didn't cost that much, like horror films, like you can throw mad films out there when it comes to that genre because you're not spending that much. But superhero movies typically cost at least like 80 million and up to make. And with that being the case, there's no room to just make any characters unless you have proven to the people what we're doing, which up until this point, Gunn has not. Every decision he's made has left me baffled. Like another announcement I saw, they're doing a Deathstroke and Bane movie. Why? Where the fuck is Batman, bro? Yes, we have Reeves Batman, but I want to see the DCU Batman. I want to see the Batman equivalent to how Superman was full-on fantasy, action, adventure going into parallel universes and all that. I want to see a Gotham that is super comic book fantastical, having all of his villains running around, Mr. Freeze shooting ice beams over the damn city. Of course, not like Batman and Robin, but just a updated version of a fantastical Batman. We haven't had that in so long. It's like, what are we waiting for? I'm still baffled at the decision to make Lanterns a streaming show. Lanterns are literally a pillar of DC. And to start it as a TV show and rated R of all things is nuts to me. So now it's not even family oriented, and we've seen from Marvel that the TV shows do not translate to the big screen because people aren't watching all of those. You know how many people are gonna go into Man of Tomorrow, and when Jon Stewart shows up, it's gonna be like, where the hell did he come from? Well, okay, because they didn't watch the show. There are people out there who still don't know who the hell Peacemaker is because they ain't watched either one of those seasons. And this is not me hating, but the statistics for both of those shows when it comes to viewership is not a lot. And again, baffling choices. Why are we doing a dynamic duo show with Robin, I think, and is it Tim Drake? Why are we doing a crypto animated series? Where the hell is the Trinity? Like, there are so many characters that could come before all the shit that they're announcing. I mean, I love Deathstroke and Bane and think that they're great villains, but why is that in development over a Batman movie? I don't understand it at all. Like, if we had a banging ass Batman movie out that hit all of the marks, then hey, I'm here for all of this stuff. But we gotta get the priorities out the way first before we can do the small characters. People do not give a fuck. If they didn't care about Supergirl, you think they're really gonna care about Clayface? And I know there's gonna be somebody in the comments like, well, Joker did a big thing, but Joker is an iconic character that everybody knows. Everybody doesn't know who Clayface is. Hell, Supergirl isn't even a character that everybody knows about. So to choose that film as the second movie was a huge mistake. And I even told a friend of mine that, like, I think if this would have been like maybe the 5th or 6th movie in the DCU, it wouldn't have been received so poorly either. Because we're in a space where movies have to be events. So what are we building towards? And I feel like Gunn is trying to run DC Studios like it's a comic book company, where you can just put out issues and people pick what they want. When I'm like, no, you have to force people to watch a narrative in order to be successful, especially coming from an uphill battle, because DC has been in turmoil and unsuccessful for quite some time. And each time somebody has been handed the keys to drive, they just run it into the ground. Like, to this day, since they kicked Zack Snyder out, I have not seen anybody present a plan better than what he was going to do. And Zack Snyder's Justice League is there to see where he was going. There has not been anything as promising as what that gave us. It is what it is. It was going to be Darkseid coming to Earth to get Anti-Life to take over not only Earth, but the universe. And it's all in the movie. That shit was awesome. And it just keeps feeling like we ditched that for this. Hamada had no idea what he was doing, and now with Gunn, I think he has his own plan, but as the audience, we're like, what the fuck are we doing? Where are we going? He even stated that Darkseid really isn't in the picture to be a big bad. And I'm just like, why? As the friend I was talking to said, Gunn is choosing to go about everything the most difficult way when all he has to do is just walk a straight line. It's like he's zigzagging when he could just walk straight up, get to a certain point, and then zigzag and do what the hell he wants. Like, it should have been Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Lanterns, Flash, Aquaman, and then in between there, you can start sprinkling in things like Creature Commandos, Peacemaker, Bane and Deathstroke. Like, we have to work with tandem. We gotta have balance here. And right now, there has been no balance. It's crazy to me that Superman has been the only A-lister that he's done. And he's pretty much been in charge for the last 2 years. And it's just looking so bad because he was really saying that, like, we're only gonna shoot stuff if the scripts is right. And he supposedly read this script and thought it was so great that he had to fast track it to movie number 2. And then we get the product and it's like, you picked this over that? So honestly, I'm befuddled at what he's doing. And as a DC fan, I am very frustrated with how things are going, especially with the MCU cranking off on all cylinders. I think that they now understand that, like, hey, we're in this space where we have to make event films for people to show up, because we saw last year Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four First Steps both didn't do that well at the box office, even though they were critically acclaimed. And I thought those movies were great as well. But you gotta give the people what they want to see, or they not gonna show up. And then you're just gonna be bleeding money. And then before you know it, that's it for comic book movies. So let me stop now before I continue my rant and start to get disrespectful, which I don't want to get, but I'm getting heated just thinking about everything. Like, how the hell can State Farm do a Batman commercial at such a high quality, but we sitting here waiting to get anything related with the Batman? Anyway, let me know in the comments, what did you think about Supergirl for sure, and then what do you think about James Gunn's plan moving forward, and what do you think that he can do to help right the ship where it's supposed to go? Or do you think or are you cool with all of this? And if so, tell me why, please. So like I said, comment below, and of course, if you like this kind of content, make sure to like and subscribe, and if you already are subscribed, thank you, and until next time, peace.
RapNerd Productions, no capping, that's word to mommy. Instead of banking on it, now rapping is just a hobby.